Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the Haunted Basement Studio. I'm your host, Triple B, and in this haunted comic book unboxing video, I got me another package, and I just cannot wait to rip it open and see what comic books we got this time. And it is only a couple books right here, because it is New Comic Book Day for me, and I do my pre-orders online, but sometimes it takes them forever to ship them to me. And so I'm still waiting on this book to come in. So I went ahead and I went right to the publisher, Dynamic Forces Dynamite Entertainment, and I bought it right off of them, and it got here just today. And check it out. Oh yeah, Vampirella #1. It's actually number 676. And that is a J. Anacoletto cover right there. And that thing is freaking badass. Written by Christopher Priest, and we got Ergün Gündüz back as the interior artist, and I cannot wait to read this, and I'll be doing a review and I'll put it up on the channel. Our story starts out in Brooklyn on a rainy night with some hoodlum peddling drugs on the street, but in the shadows you see a hand that reaches out for him, and it's Vampirella, and she grabs him and starts sucking all the blood out of his neck. And this is called Homefront, The Long Night, Book 1. As Vampirella walks into a store, she hands the teller a bunch of cash, and he says, "Was it a slow night?" She says it wasn't too bad, but that meth head's blood tasted like vinegar. And he says that the New York City should ought to pin a rose on you. And she says, "Oh, I wish somebody would." He says, "It's okay, Ella. It is not that bad. Things are going to get better." And now as Vampirella is walking home in the rain, carrying her groceries, she arrives at her apartment with the babysitter Dash saying, "Hey, you're here, and don't worry, he's out like a light." And as she leaves, she sits down at the kitchen table and she's drinking some blood wine, and she starts to think to herself that she is a single mom. But she won. She beat Draculina, her sister, who stole her baby and was giving it to a crazy cult. But she did win, and she nearly killed Draculina. And she thinks to herself that she got her baby back and she won. But it seems that Vampirella is struggling with postpartum depression as she tries to give the baby a bottle in the morning, which calms down, but he throws the bottle down and starts crying, and then she holds him again, and then he finally passes out. And now as Vampirella goes throughout the day that a mom would do, changing diapers, giving the baby a bath, feeding him, playing him, and then finally putting the baby in the crib where she can get some rest. And all of a sudden a stranger shows up and picks up the baby, and Vampirella runs in there and says, "Put him down." He says, "Well, somebody should hold him. He's not a cat." And right then and there, Dash walks in and says, "Ellie, I'm here for the little rascal." And Vampirella says, "Oh, we are in here." And as she walks out to meet Dash, she grabs the baby and says, oh boy, are you ready to have some fun tonight?" And Ellie says, "Thank you." And she's like, "Wait, I gotta go." And as she jumps out the window with her 18-foot bat wings, she says, "There's two questions. Who the hell was that guy? And why couldn't I smell him? It is so much easier to sneak up on a vamp. Wait, it must have been." And she yells, "Lilith!" And she turns back around and flies into her apartment. And as she goes flying into the window, Dash is cleaning up the baby and says, "You're all clean now." And Vampirella walks up to her and grabs her and says, "Give me my baby. Don't you touch him. I swore that I would never let you touch him, you sadistic bitch." And Dash is like, "What are you talking about, Ellie?" She's like, "I know it's you, mother." And now as Vampirella pushes Dash back, Dash pisses herself, and Vampirella thinks there's no way that Mother Lilith would ever do that. And she realizes that Dash is a human. She says, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Dash." And she's like, "What are you? Get away from me." And as she runs out of the apartment, Vampirella says, "No, please don't leave me." And she looks back at the baby and says, "With him." And now Dash is running through the rainy streets, but she slips on a puddle and falls. And Vampirella shows up holding her baby. She says, Dash, I need your help. She's like, no, no, get away from me. And Vampirella says, look into my eyes. Everything is going to be all right again. And as Dash stares into Vampirella's eyes, she says, oh my God, I must have slipped and fallen. I'm so sorry that I'm late. And Vampirella says, I need your help with this, Dash. He says, okay. And now we're going to jump to a scene where we're in this penthouse where this pimp drug pusher is on the phone talking about slinging women and peddling drugs. And Vampirella shows up behind him and it kind of startles him. And he's like, you know, if you were a real vampire, I wouldn't be able to see your reflection in the glass. And she looks at him and says, you know how hard it is to find an affordable babysitter these days? And all your girls that you have on the street now are in the shelter. And this guy looks at her and is like, that's it, you crazy bitch. And he swings at Vampirella, but she easily dodges it. And she goes up to him and goes, boom, and pushes him right out of the window. And as he's falling to the ground, she jumps and flies after him and then grabs his neck and starts sucking all the blood out of him. And next thing you know, she's back in that corner store getting some cash over to that teller. And he's writing out a check and he's saying, I'm a 200-year-old vampire. I know when a lonely vampire is around, and you are lonely, Vampirella. And she looks at him and says, no, I'm not. And he says, well, there's got to be someone that you can at least talk to. She says there used to be. And now we cut to the scene with Vampirella's old therapist. And he's saying, get out of my office. And it's the stranger. And he says, Vampirella trusts you. She needs you. And I figure that's good enough for me. And the therapist says, Vampirella, crazy space bitch that thinks she's a vampire. She's married and moved to New York. I'm done with that. And the stranger says her husband died trying to save her. She's all alone now, doctor. She needs you. Oh yeah, like I need a night with Janet Jackson. Life is full of disappointments, kid. I'm calling 911. You got a name, Spooky McWhite Boy? And I just cannot wait for the police report. He says, Serio, like the Roman guy? Yeah, just like the Roman guy. And the doctor says, well, great. And just what do you care about Ellie Normandy? Well, she's my mother. Oh, hell. To the hell no, doctor says. Hit the brick, Scooter. Ellie Normandy's baby's less than a year old. And Serio said, a maniac named Shane discovered how to use the cosmic gateway to access the time stream. Just before Mother rescued me from her evil sister. And the doctor says, oh, so you traveled back in time too? And he looks at him and says, to convince her to give me back. The end of book 1. All right, man, that was Vampirella's number 676. It's the beginning story all the way up to 700, so you should jump into it now. This book just came out last week as of recording of this video, and my thoughts on it was pretty good. I did enjoy it. Christopher Priest can be really convoluted in his writing, but with this one, it kind of was straight to the point. We get Ergün Gündüz back as an interior artist. He's been gone for a few months, probably working on this new series that they're trying to make their way to 700, like I keep on saying. But the art in it was, it was good. I thought it could be a little bit better because I do like Ergün Gündüz's digital art style and how he does it. But with the story, I think the story was pretty straightforward. You can jump right in and kind of know what's going on. You're like, who's Draculina? Why did she try to steal her baby? And now the baby's back, and now all of a sudden the baby's coming from like a half a century, from the future into the past, wanting to convince his mom to, go ahead and let Draculina keep the baby. So that's got us intrigued. There's something going on with that. Maybe Vampirella isn't fit out to be a mom, because when the stranger first shows up at the crib and picks himself up, she's like, put my baby down. He's like, well, he needs to be held sometimes. So maybe this postpartum depression that Vampirella's having is going to put a major effect on Rio when he's growing up. I don't know. They're just spitballing here. That was issue number 1. Issue number 2 is going to come out next month, so I can't wait to read it. You all should pick it up. If not, come back next month, and I'll be doing a review on this all the way to 700, because I'm working my way to 700 as well. And we're going to review every single one of these books until we get there. And if you want to see that, make sure you hit the subscribe button right there. Don't just hit it, stab it. And while you do that, stab that like button, hit that bleeping bell right there, and you'll be notified whenever my new videos come out. Again, if this is your first time here, I go live every Wednesday night, Mountain Time, baby, at 6 o'clock. And we're always going to have unboxing videos on Mondays, and we're going to be doing reviews just like this one. And I want you guys to remember one thing: you keep it haunted. Comics. Yeah, for real, baby. Laters!